and beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he explained to them what was said in all the scriptures concerning himself.
Shalom, children. Today we are going to be taking a deeper look at this week's Torah portion to see where it speaks of Yeshua HaMashiach. We are in the book of Bereshit. The parashah this week is called Vayira, which in Hebrew means He appeared. We are going to learn today who it was that appeared and to whom. First, let's hear a summary of the parashat. Avraham sits at the entrance to his tent during the heat of the day. When he looks up, 3 visitors are standing before him. Avraham rushes to prepare a meal for the guests. As they eat, Yahweh tells Avraham he and his wife Sarah will have a son in a year's time. Avraham and Sarah are very old, and Sarah laughs to herself at the thought of having a child at her age. Yahweh tells Avraham he is going to bring judgment on the wicked city of Sodom. Avraham pleads with Yah for the sake of Sodom. 2 of the visitors continue on to the city where Avraham's nephew Lot lives. Lot shows hospitality and protects the messengers from the wicked residents of Sodom. The 2 guests reveal to Lot that they have come to destroy the city and save Lot and his family. Lot's family flee the city, but Lot's wife disobeys the instruction not to turn back to Sodom. As she lingers, she turns into a pillar of salt. Yahweh remembers Avraham and Sarah and gives them a son whom they name Yitzhak. Some years later, Avraham is tried by Elohim. Yahweh instructs him to sacrifice his son Yitzhak on Mount Moriah. Yitzhak is bound and placed onto an altar there. Avraham raises the knife to slaughter his son, but a voice from heaven calls him to stop. A ram is caught in the bushes by its horns. It is taken and offered in the place of Yitzhak. Yeshua said, "If you believed Moshe, you would believe me, because he wrote about me." So let's dig a bit deeper to see if we can find Yeshua in the scriptures. Have you ever thought you saw someone you knew, but when you called out their name, it was someone else? It can be a bit embarrassing. Our parashah begins with the words, Yahweh appeared to Avraham. Yet when he looked up, it is 3 men described as standing before him. So what was happening? As we read on, we may think that the 3 men were messengers sent by Elohim. But something happens in the story that helps us to understand a bit more. You see, when Avraham first saw the visitors, he ran over and bowed down in worship, saying, "Yahweh, if I have found favor in your eyes, do not pass by." The one he bowed down to didn't say, "Stand up, Avraham. You should only worship Elohim." No, this one received the honor that was shown to him. This tells us one of the visitors was Elohim, making himself visible in the form of a man. You see, that is one way he can show himself to us. In the book of Shemot, Yahweh tells Moshe, "You cannot see my face, for no man can see me and live." The disciple Yohanan wrote about Adonai sending the Son, Yeshua, to walk amongst mankind when he said, "The Word became flesh and dwelt amongst us." And later, Shaul would write, "He gave up his divine privileges, took on the form of a servant, when he appeared in human form." After greeting the three visitors, Avraham rushes to provide hospitality, bringing water to wash their feet. Avraham, who was called to bless the nations, shows great character in being quick to serve others. This reminds me of the time when Yeshua washed the feet of his taught ones. Do you remember? It was at the last meal they shared together. As he knelt before them, he said, "I have given you an example to follow. Do as I have done to you." The disciple Shimon Kifar would later write, "Show hospitality to one another without complaining." Avraham tells his guests to rest under the eitz, that is, the tree, whilst he prepared the meal for them. This creates a wonderful shadow picture of Yeshua HaMashiach, who invites us to rest under the eitz, that is, the covering of the cross, whilst he prepares the wedding banquet meal. Avraham then told his guests, "Let me bring a piece of bread and refresh your hearts." Again, we are reminded of the scene at Yeshua's last meal. He broke the bread and told the disciples it represented his body, which was going to be broken as the way to renew and refresh our hearts. And as we know, Yeshua is the Good Shepherd. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He refreshes my soul. As we continue the parashah, we learn, along with Avraham, about the judgment and destruction of the wicked city of Sodom. Avraham pleads for the safety of the righteous within the city, and indeed 2 messengers lead Lot and his family out. Yeshua said, "I am the way." When we follow his path, it leads us out of the world and toward the kingdom of Elohim. Sadly, Lot's wife stood and lingered. She wasn't sure she wanted to leave the old ways behind. But Yeshua gave the warning, "Anyone who puts a hand to the plow and then looks back is not fit for the kingdom of Elohim." Our parashat finishes with a very moving account of Avraham being asked to show that he was willing to sacrifice his beloved son. As we go through the story, let's watch the shadow picture of Yeshua emerge. Avraham is given a son who was promised many years before. The father takes his son on the journey toward Mount Moriah. The father took the wood of offering and laid it onto his son. The son is bound and laid upon the wood, ready to be sacrificed. I am sure Avraham and Yitzhak were very grateful that a ram caught up in the thickets was able to be sacrificed instead that day. You see, children, it is only Yeshua who is found worthy of making atonement for sin. For Adonai so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Well, children, That is the end of our study for today. So we will see you next time when we search the scriptures together. Shalom.